Hello and welcome. Right now, we are just sitting about 4 weeks away from Monster Hunter Wilds coming out on all platforms at the same time. And a lot of people might be excited for this, and some people might not be excited for this. But for me, I've been playing the game. I have over 800 hours on Monster Hunter World on Steam, and then another 200 some on PlayStation. Obviously, I'm going to be excited for this game. I'm pumped, I'm excited, and everything that I want out of the game seems to be happening. And obviously, there's a few things that I haven't shown, but if you're somebody that's not been part of the Monster Hunter franchise at all, why would you even want to play Monster Hunter Wilds? And hopefully, with this video, I can convince you that Monster Hunter Wilds is worth checking out even though you haven't even played the game. And to preface this video, I do want to mention what perspective I'm coming from. It's mostly coming from what I've seen in Monster Hunter World. Not really much from Rise. I haven't played enough of Rise to really form a nice, coherent opinion about it. But with over probably 1,000 hours into Monster Hunter World, I think I can safely say what I felt while playing this game. I'll start with gameplay feel. I want to say every single monster in the game, even though they may have the same skeleton or even sometimes even look fairly similar, they fight very differently many times. And every fight feels like its own separate unique experience from other different fights. A Rathian and Rathalos look very similar to each other, and they are not the same at all. The Rathalos can be very aggressive and assertive and very difficult to fight, and it normally flies around a lot, and you have to figure out what to do while it's in the air. And with the Rathian, they're very grounded many a times, and you have to figure out how to fight that on the ground. It's something that is very important to understand, that every fight in Monster Hunter feels different. Monster Hunter is a game of grinding, but the grind never feels that it's too troubling. A grind in something like old school RuneScape, where you need to spend hundreds of hours to obtain a small fractional upgrade, is not the same as, hey, go fight this monster. You can really focus farm certain parts. You don't have to really push yourself normally too hard. You can, each time you have to fight a monster over and over again, it's a hurdle to learn and master a monster and master a hunt. It is exciting and always rewarding. You always feel like there's something that you can be doing without ever feeling like you're overwhelmed with choices. You typically get to see what choices you make yourself. What are you looking to get out of a set? You know, are you looking to block more damage, or do you just want to dish out as much damage as possible? And both options are valid choices. One of the big parts of hunts is that you can only cart yourselves a few times, but every step of the way, you're able to build your character in a way to either maybe play a little bit more defensively, have a bit more guarding, have a little bit more defense, because at the end of the day, if you cart too many times, you're done. You get to choose the way that you want to build and play your character, your hunter. You get to choose and make choices of how you want your character to be. There's going to be a lot of builds at the very early start. Just happens in Monster Hunter, of what the biggest DPS is going to be. But that's not always important, and a good example of why DPS doesn't matter all the time is looking at that final fight at Monster Hunter World. Fatalis is one of my favorite boss fights of any game. It brings emotions out of me that I want to cry whenever I think about that first time I got to beat Fatalis. It's a fantastic boss fight, combined with the amazing music, the scenario, and the feelings that this is the final hunt. This is the final boss. And one thing that helped me be able to get through it a lot easier wasn't having the best DPS build in the game. It was using a dual blades build that allowed me to evade attacks better and easier, because I'm not really good at timing all of my dodges. And being able to say, hey, yeah, you can make your evade window bigger. You can block this more. A lot of times, people will say the best offense is a good defense, and many a times this can be true in Monster Hunter, because if you cart, well, then you're done. You cart too many times, you're done the hunt, and many fights can take up to 30 minutes. Fatalis is a 30-minute fight that you have to understand how the fight goes, because you will run out of times a few times when trying to do it. And I'm not saying every fight's like this. Many hunts can not take a while and some can. I've been doing on stream. One of my hardest fights so far in World, starting fresh with a heavy bowgun, was Bomburo, one of the biggest punching bags of Iceborne. Obviously, there are issues probably with my gear, and I should go back and farm gear, and I jumped into Master Mode without really doing much. I jumped into Iceborne without really trying to get any better armor. I'm using Anjanath armor, I'm pretty sure, but that's besides the point. The big issue here is that, well, yeah, Monster Hunter is great when you can just go hunt a monster, and it's chill. Monster fights can feel very overwhelming at first, but starting to achieve and understand how monsters work is so satisfactory. And then you also just get to carve them, and then you put that on your gear. And not only that, now they have announced something recently that changes a lot of the issues that World had, is that I assume every endgame weapon will have a unique design to it. That was one of the biggest issues in Monster Hunter World. A lot of the base world and even Iceborne weapons, the final weapon just doesn't look cool. It's just a normal, like the normal metal dual blades they slapped on a little skin and said, yep, that's the Anjanath dual blades. There you go, buddy. Or a bone looking weapon and doing that. And so much customizability options is just better. You just want to be able to look as cool as you want. And I think they're doing a wonderful job of really showcasing how much care they're putting into this game. They really know what people and hunters want. They want to be able to be very customizably looked because, I don't know, people like the way they look. You want it's a fun little thing. Oh, well, how do I want my character to look in all this armor? You know, people spend hundreds of hours in character creators. Many a times just slapping all this armor on that you don't even get to see your character's hair throughout most of the game. But they understand what players want, and they know a lot of times what players won't want. You know what? It's weird to see a company that feels like they understand their community now, and not many game companies do that. And I just feel like there's a lot of things in this game that not only are fun, yeah, you're just fighting monsters the whole time, but there's also other things that you can do. You can go and fish. You can go and collect endemic life. You can go mine. You can do this. There's things to be able to break up that monotony of just, hey, go hunt, go hunt, go hunt, go kill, go kill, go kill. And it really is a way to make the game just that much better. That, yeah, it can get repetitive sometimes to fight the same monster over and over again. So they got little small things that you can do, keep track of, that I feel like in this game they're showcasing. You know, you have a capture net, you can capture endemic life. They're doing a wonderful job of making you feel like a hunter and having just a wonderful time with your buddies. And now you don't even need buddies. You just can do, the SOS flares are even better than before. You can just say, you know what, I want people to join me, but I don't want them to be real people. That's fair. That's fair. Sometimes you get that one hunt that you bring on people and they keep carding, and it feels like, even though a lot of times in the game you're all working together. Everybody's working together on a common goal, to hunt monsters and to get loot. And it's something that might seem very small, but it's very, very exciting when you get a group together that you don't know these people, but you get to feel like you can bond with them because you're all just working together at the end. Because most people that are playing the game understand the struggles of these fights and hunts and trying to understand what to do. I can give you advice in the middle of a hunt, but you're not going to be able to utilize any of it. And it is something that you can find and have funny moments with other hunters. You can feel like you're playing a single player game with multiple other people, and even though they might not be able to even speak your same language, I've joined many hunts where some of my favorite times being in hunts were joining with Japanese and Korean people. just shooting stickers around to try to give yourself more emotions. It's a game that we all understand what it's like to struggle in hunts, because a lot of people that have played World have had that struggle fight many a times. I watched a review recently where they said they struggled on Anjanath, and I was the same person. And now I go back, and here I am doing heavy bowgun, and Bombro comes into my life and just sends a boulder at me. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just die then. But that's what's great about Monster Hunter's gameplay. It's satisfactory. You get to have these moments that just feel amazing, and nothing really feels as tacked on this time. In Monster Hunter World, there wasn't really anything too much. The mounting system might have been a bit too much, the amount of times you can mount a monster and knock them over. But now the way that the mounting system works and the wound system works, I think it really is two great additions to the game that don't make it feel like it's going to be overwhelming for players to really have to master. And many a times you don't even have to utilize them to their max potential. To compare this to Monster Hunter World Iceborne, where the clutch call became an integral item and equipment that hunters needed to use for hunts, or else you would just have a bad time. And understanding how to use the clutch claw can be really confusing. But the wound system, I feel like, is great. You wound body parts, and those are the softer parts that you want to hit, and you could physically see them. It's easy. Anyone can understand that. It's something that Monster Hunter is a series that Capcom holds with high regards as to how they want it to be treated. And really, Capcom has been doing a wonderful job. Now, albeit sometimes Capcom does do wrong, and I want to say the DRM service that they use many a times is very frustrating to deal with. It's dumb, it's stupid, but it could be coming from somebody else. And I hope that they don't keep doing bad DRM decisions, but hopefully they start to get better and learn over time. But being treated as a player now, the player treatment just seems fantastic. At no point do I feel like they're trying to pull my money away from me, but for the most part, it seems like I get a full-fledged game that I was able to put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours into. It seems like I'm going to be able to do the same hundreds, if not thousands of hours again, with minimal issues with the microtransactions market. You can come and play Monster Hunter, leave for a few months, come back, and there might be new things for you, but you can leave right where you left off. Other people are going to be in the same spot, or maybe they want to go craft more gear, craft more things. It's a game that you will always have something to be able to do, and other hunters will be there to help you if you really need assistance, or you just want to play with other people even though you don't know them. Even though this game has a lot of MMO type aspects, it seems to not carry the same MMO type of sort of toxicity or issues that MMOs seem to have. It's this weird pseudo MMO that really everybody seems super friendly most of the time. You'll get some bad eggs from time to time, but overall, everybody's just ready to go hunting when jolly cooperation. I know after seeing all this hype and excitement for Wilds, I've been more excited because I loved World. It is my most played game on Steam. I want more Monster Hunter, and having more hunters to appreciate a game that is just fantastic is something that really just keeps spreading on this sort of loving atmosphere in the game. People care about the game, and they care about the other players. And even though many of the hunts might sound like they can take a while, you have 50 minutes to complete this hunt. On average, once you start getting used to the game, they're not taking quite as long as, they're not going to take 30 minutes. You're going to be able to go back to that hunt, be able to do it within 5 minutes, maybe even less if, you're doing a low rank and you're in high rank, but that's regardless. You could do some of these hunts insanely fast if you get good enough. There's a high skill ceiling to be able to actually perfect the game, but being able to enjoy the game, there's not much that it's required to be done. You can play how you want. you can play more defensively, and once you start learning how the monster moves and reacts, you can start taking off those defensive abilities and start being more offensive in your abilities more. There's a lot of numbers that you can play with the game, but also just a lot of interesting things. It's a game that takes itself seriously sometimes, but for the most part takes itself not seriously. Being able to see emotes like Prance come back is amazing. It's a fan favorite. I love it. It's wonderful. Being able to just be around town and doing dumb things with other people is fun in of itself. It really reminds me of like older eras of the internet when you were just hanging out with people rather than just doing, the efficient things that the world has started to become in the gaming world, at least. And it's really feeling like a breath of fresh air from many other games. The last game that I can remember that felt like a breath of fresh air was Baldur's Gate 3. And Monster Hunter Wilds and World before it both feel like a breath of fresh air. A game that is made to buy it out of the box and you get to enjoy it from start to finish. It's a game that I will come back to years from now, possibly even a decade from now, just wanting to hunt monsters again. It looks like this could be just not a big Monster Hunter game, but a massive game for the entire franchise. Seeing that a bunch of people are enjoying and excited for a game that I feel like didn't get enough attention when it first came out, and this is well known due to the fact that its peak player count was after Wilds got launched and they had their ad campaign of, hey, go back to World. And people were like, yeah, I will. And people got to see how good World is. And I can't wait to experience a whole new player base, play this game, and enjoy it. Hopefully Capcom doesn't make any bad decisions with it. So far, it seems like they're doing a wonderful job of either keeping it under wraps or they're doing a great job just making a fantastic, solid game that's going to last for years to come. Oh, hopefully you enjoyed this video. That's it to this one. I've been trying to be more consistent on this new year. Also, as we get closer to Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm probably going to have more talking points to be able to have. There's a lot of exciting things coming. We have 2 beta weekends, which I'm going to utilize this first beta weekend to do a few extra things, right? I want to make sure that my stream setup is good, and a lot of this footage that you saw was taken from my Twitch page that hopefully I can figure out how to get this on screen. So future me, you better get this one right. You better figure this out because you're going to have a rough time if you don't. But hopefully you can start tuning in. Hopefully enjoy this video. Let me know how you feel about the game, how you feel like this is either going to be terrible for the Monster Hunter franchise or amazing for the Monster Hunter franchise. I'm excited for it regardless, but I'd like to hear your opinions on it. And I do plan on streaming a lot of Monster Hunter Wilds and trying to record videos as well. We'll see what happens. This is all just a journey that we're all taking, right? We're all just taking this journey, and your journey is watching me talk like for 15 minutes on Monster Hunter, and then if I'm streaming, it's hours on Monster Hunter discussions. And I'm going to be streaming next week somewhere in the ballpark of when Wilds is out for the beta weekend. I want to try it a bit. I have a PlayStation 5, which is much more powerful than my current PC is. Sadly, I wasn't able to upgrade my PC in time, so I have a device to play it, and I have ways to play it now. So I'm going to try to see how it looks stream-wise and also just for fun-wise. I just want to have a good time. I'll probably try to play a little bit of heavy bowgun. I'm not sick this time, so I can do whatever I want. Oh my gosh. It's great. It's amazing. I really am excited for this, and hopefully you are too. And, hopefully enjoyed this video anyways. I'll see you all next time. Thank you.